The tragic story of Sylvia Likens is a chilling narrative of cruelty, neglect, and the depths of human depravity. Set in the heartland of America in 1965, her tale unfolds with a devastating combination of societal failures, individual malice, and helplessness. Here is an expanded account of her harrowing ordeal. A brief beginning. Sylvia's early life. Sylvia Marie Likens was born on January 3, 1949, in Lebanon, Indiana, to Lester and Betty Likens. She was the third of 5 children in a family that struggled financially. Her parents were carnival workers, often moving from town to town to make ends meet. Despite these challenges, Sylvia was known as a kind and spirited girl, deeply attached to her siblings, especially her younger sister, Jenny, who had a limp due to polio. Sylvia's life, though modest, had moments of normalcy. She enjoyed music, loved roller skating, and cared for her family. Her nickname, Cookie, reflected her sweet and affectionate personality. However, the instability of her family's financial situation often forced her and Jenny into precarious circumstances, a fact that would eventually contribute to her tragic fate. Meeting the Baniszewski family in 1965, Lester Likens and his wife decided to work on the carnival circuit for the summer. Needing someone to look after Sylvia and Jenny, they turned to Gertrude Baniszewski, a woman they had met through mutual acquaintances. Gertrude was a single mother of 7 children, living in a dilapidated house in Indianapolis. She seemed to offer a reasonable solution. In exchange for $20 a week, she agreed to care for the Likens sisters. What the Likens family did not know was that Gertrude was deeply unstable. Living in poverty, she was overwhelmed by the burden of raising her children alone. Her health was frail, and she was addicted to cigarettes and prescription drugs. The children under her care experienced a chaotic, abusive environment. At first, things seemed fine. Sylvia and Jenny settled into the Baniszewski home, helping out with chores and attending school. Sylvia even befriended some of the Baniszewski children, particularly Paula, Gertrude's oldest daughter. However, cracks in Gertrude's facade quickly became apparent. A descent into hell when Lester's payments began arriving late. Gertrude's demeanor toward Sylvia and Jenny changed drastically. She began targeting Sylvia with verbal abuse, blaming her for the family's financial struggles. Soon, this abuse escalated to physical violence. Gertrude's rage, combined with her own mental instability, created a toxic environment where cruelty flourished unchecked. Gertrude began punishing Sylvia for minor infractions, real or imagined, with increasing severity. Accusations about Sylvia's supposed promiscuity became a fixation for Gertrude, who projected her insecurities and frustrations onto the teenage girl. She falsely accused Sylvia of being a thief, a liar, and a bad influence. These accusations fueled an atmosphere of hostility, encouraging Gertrude's children and other neighborhood kids to join in the abuse. The violence was horrifyingly methodical. Gertrude allowed, and sometimes ordered, her children and their friends to beat Sylvia, burn her with cigarettes, and humiliate her in ways that defied basic humanity. Sylvia was forced to eat spoiled food, stripped of her dignity, and deprived of basic necessities. Jenny, terrified of becoming a target herself, was powerless to intervene. The role of society and bystanders. What makes Sylvia's case even more tragic is the complicity of bystanders. Many of the neighborhood children actively participated in her abuse, treating her suffering as a form of entertainment. They viewed the torture sessions as group activities, spurred on by Gertrude's encouragement. Shockingly, several adults were aware of Sylvia's plight but failed to take meaningful action. Teachers noticed Sylvia's deteriorating condition but did not investigate further. One adult neighbor, aware of the screams and commotion, did nothing out of fear of Gertrude's wrath. This collective silence and apathy contributed to Sylvia's prolonged suffering. The final days. By October 1965, Sylvia's condition had become critical. She was malnourished, covered in bruises and burns, and mentally broken. Gertrude escalated her torment, locking Sylvia in the basement and denying her access to food or water. Sylvia was subjected to unimaginable cruelty, including being forced to carve degrading phrases into her own skin. When she failed to do so, Gertrude's children carried out the act themselves. On October 25, 1965, Sylvia succumbed to her injuries. She died on a filthy mattress in the Baniszewski basement. Her cause of death was determined to be brain swelling, internal bleeding, and shock. Her final moments were a tragic testament to the depths of her suffering, as she reportedly whispered, "I want to die." The aftermath of Sylvia's death shocked the nation and led to one of the most infamous criminal trials in American history. Gertrude Baniszewski, along with several of her children and neighborhood accomplices, was arrested and charged with Sylvia's murder. The trial revealed the full extent of the horror Sylvia endured, horrifying the public and sparking debates about child welfare, accountability, and the role of bystanders in preventing abuse. Gertrude was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. However, she was paroled in 1985, sparking outrage among Sylvia's family and the public. Paula Baniszewski and other participants received lighter sentences, with some serving only a few years. Legacy Sylvia Likens' story remains a stark reminder of the consequences of neglect, societal failure, and unchecked cruelty. Her case led to increased awareness of child abuse and prompted changes in legislation aimed at protecting vulnerable children. A memorial plaque in Indianapolis now honors Sylvia, ensuring her memory is not forgotten. Though Sylvia's life was tragically cut short, her story has inspired efforts to prevent similar tragedies. Advocates for child welfare and justice continue to invoke her name, determined to ensure that no child suffers as she did.